We'll bring this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Looking for an adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Cutler. All in favor? Passed. Looking for a motion to adopt the regular meeting minutes from October 11th.
I'll move.
Organization.
Oh, my apologies. I had the wrong one up. All right. Here we go. Organizational meeting. Sorry, they both said 7 p.m. on my thing. So, adoption of the agenda we have from Councillor Cutler. Moving on to proposed committee organizational structure. Abe?
So this is the yearly organizational meeting, the proposed organizational structure, which are the committee appointments, the internal committees that councillors are appointed to, and also the external committees and boards that they're appointed to as representatives of council. Don't believe there are any changes, but this would be a good time to talk about that if there's any desired changes amongst council for that. Otherwise, if council's in favor, they can simply pass a motion to approve what's presented here for you.
As it stands, I think everyone's happy with where they're at, unless anyone has any comments or concerns in regards to this.
No.
All right. Would you like a motion to just accept it?
Yes, please.
So we're looking for a motion to accept. Moved by Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger that the proposed committee organization and structure be accepted as presented.
All right. Any final thoughts, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on to the meeting dates. Regular. Abe?
Another motion that council passes every year is to set the proposed meeting dates. I think this is a bit of an anomaly here. Normally, council meetings are on Mondays. It looks like there's 4 Tuesdays, 4 Tuesday meetings this year. I don't know if it's ever been that many, but it's just because of a holiday on the Monday. So just pay attention to that. But otherwise, it's council's meeting schedule, which is required to be posted publicly and available to the public.
Any comments, concerns in regards to this? Would you like a motion to accept those meeting dates?
I'll make a motion to accept the calendar year 2023 dates.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer. Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer that the regular council meeting dates for 2023 be accepted as presented.
Any further thoughts, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on, appointment of deputy mayor. Abe?
The deputy mayor schedule, same as before. Just looking to reapprove it at the organizational meeting.
Questions, concerns, comments? Moved by Councillor Carlson. Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson that the deputy mayor appointments be accepted as presented.
Any further thoughts, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Passed. Number 5, annual motions. A, designate municipal officer, and B, designate financial institution. Abe?
Just a couple of yearly motions. We're required by legislation, the council rather is required by legislation to pass these motions, designating the town office and the town's town's banking institution.
Okay. Any comments in regards to this? Looking for a motion to designate 145th Avenue West as our town municipal office. Anyone like to make that?
I can make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Meister. Question?
Moved by Councillor Meister to designate 11155 Avenue West in Claresholm, Alberta as the town's municipal office.
Perfect. All those in favor? Passed. And looking for a motion to designate BMO as the town's banking institution. Moved by Councillor Kettles. Question?
Moved by Councillor Kettles to designate the Bank of Montreal as the town's banking institution.
Any thoughts, comments, concerns in regards to that? All those in favor? Passed. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Carlson to adjourn at 7:06 p.m. All in favor? Great. Great. Now we'll call the regular council meeting for October 24th at 7:06 p.m. Looking for an adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Cutler. All in favor? Passed. Looking for an adoption of the regular meeting minutes from October 11th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes for October 11th as presented.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer. All those in favor? Passed. We'll head into a public hearing for bylaw 1750, land use bylaw amendment. We'll head into that now at 7:07 p.m. If there's someone that would like to come and speak to that, you can come on up and.
I'll just, maybe just talk to it first, briefly, and then we'll have members of the public. Council had first reading of this bylaw, which is proposed amendment to the land use bylaw a couple of weeks ago. Notice has been given to the public of the public hearing, and we did not get any comments in the office about this proposed amendment. Proposed amendment looks to add a place of worship to the downtown retail zoning. And so, excuse me, which would make that a permittable use, a place of worship for religious organizations. I'll just read the definition. A place of worship means a development dedicated to the undertaking of religious practices and activities, and includes churches, chapels, temples, parish halls, synagogues, convents, seminaries, rectories, mosques, and may include such accessory uses as offices or administration for the place of worship, child care facility, and space for social, recreational, and community activities. So at this point in time, just turn it over to the members of the public who would like to speak to the bylaw.
Welcome.
So Bev, if you just touch the little person.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to come tonight and speak. I just want an understanding so everybody understands my vision for this worship center. It's not just a worship center. I have dealt with drug addicts, alcoholics, and criminals for 30 years. And what I'm finding right now is our young people are being targeted a lot, really bad, especially for drugs from the city coming down. This is a corridor. And I've pulled a few out. I've got 3 more that want to come out. They're trafficking in Calgary. They're dealing with drugs in Calgary and they want out. And so I've been doing that for a long time, legally, like I do what I have to do legally. But at the same time, these kids come to me for help, and they don't come to a normal church. Because they feel, well, they just don't fit in a normal church. They feel judged and those kinds of things. And so I wanted to open an outreach so they can come and get help, where I can send them to Landers or Henwood or something, and also to mental health for help. I have many resources. I've studied myself in the States for spiritual roots to disease, and I was ordained under Joan Hunter Ministries for healing in Texas, and I've done all kinds of dream interpretations for what's going on inside of their hearts. So I have some of those gifts, but my main concern is these kids they're just left out there. People try and help them, but they're scared. They don't want to tell, and probably my experience out of about 10 kids, I would say between 5 and 6 girls have been raped or molested, and they don't tell anybody. And they need help to get through their crises, and I'm not saying I'm the counselor to do it, but I'm a minister, and that can help, but I would like to get them to get their help so they can get free of these. They're tormented. You have no idea when you work with these kids how horrific and sad their life is. And so they cut or they shoot up, and fentanyl's just wild now. And yeah, it's scary stuff. So that's my reason, is just having an open door that they can come in anytime and get help, and I can send them where they need to go. And we will have a worship service Saturday night, just because it's available. That's when they're out and on the street, and I chose that particular place because it is downtown. It's close to the park. It's somewhere if they need to come in and get warm and just have a handout, I would be able to be there. That's basically my purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. And does anyone have any questions just here at this time?
My church is legally incorporated as well. Like it's legal, so I've done that.
Well, thank you for coming in and explaining that to us. I appreciate it, and I think we all do appreciate that. So
Thank
you
you.
for your time.
Thanks.
Abe, at this time, if there's no other public, we're able to go ahead and close this meeting. I would like to close the public hearing at 7:12 p.m. and move into our action items. First one, bylaw 1750, land use bylaw amendment, second and third readings. Abe?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about this already, Council. The proposed amendment here is for discretionary use for place of worship, which means that the actual use, any potential future use will be approved through separate application processes. So you're not approving any specific application tonight. You're just amending the bylaws so that future use can happen in that area. Again, no comments from the public other than this one here at the public hearing.
Any questions in regards to this? Dr. Hobson?
Just with the approved usage, going to a spiritual center, but still zoned as retail C1, it still falls under a taxation of C1, yes.
If it is for religious and worship purposes, then it wouldn't be taxed. But if there's portions of that that are not for religious purposes, then they would be taxed.
Okay.
Any other questions? We're looking for a motion to amend land use bylaw for a second reading. If anyone would like to make that? Don't everyone raise their hands at once. We're still going to need a motion to move on with the second reading regardless, and from there we will bring it.
For the second reading.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Cutler. Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to give bylaw number 1750 a land use bylaw amendment, second reading.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor? 3 in favor. Those opposed? 4 opposed. Motion defeated. Moving on to bylaw 1751, cemetery bylaw amendment, first reading. Abe?
So this is a proposed amendment to the cemetery bylaw, the fees structure in place. The town works with a company called Nelson Granite, who they purchased the columbarium from, and they also provide the plaques. And we had a fee in our bylaw, which became outdated with the business. And so the business lifted their fees on the plaques, and we were actually selling the plaques at a loss. And so we're actually looking to amend the bylaw and the fee structure for cost, so that can capture any future increases, plus 6%, which covers shipping costs, and then, of course, GST.
Open this up for discussion. Looking for a motion to give cemetery amendment bylaw first reading. Would like to make that?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Meister. Question?
Moved by Councillor Meister to give bylaw number 1751 a cemetery bylaw amendment, first reading.
Any further questions, comments, concerns in regards to this? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on to number 3, bylaw 1752, land use bylaw amendment, first reading. Abe?
Yep, just have a proposed land use bylaw amendment on here, and that is for 359 43rd Ave West. The town recently sold this lot with a conditional offer that, a condition on the offer, rather, that it would be rezoned from R4 to R5, which is apartments. And so the purpose of the application is to align the zoning with the purchaser's intent. And so the purchaser is currently preparing plans to develop the lot here. And prior to second reading, there would be a public hearing on this proposed amendment.
Open this up for discussion. Any concerns in regards to this? Councillor Hochberger?
I'll make a motion, we give bylaw 1752 approval.
All right. Moved by Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to give bylaw number 1752 a land use bylaw amendment, first reading.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on, request for decision, enabling access grant at Edmondson Park. Abe?
Yeah, so just looking for council's approval to apply for some funding just for some accessibility portions of Edmondson Park. Looking to install some asphalt pathways, some concrete pathways and connections, and some lighting, electrical service, and some parking bollards as well. This is just the continued redevelopment of Edmondson Park. There is a budget down below for your information. We have already, administration has already applied for the active fund transportation for 60% of the funding. This one is for the Enabling Accessibility Fund, which covers up to $100,000 and up to 80% of the project costs. And so just looking for approval from council to apply for the Enabling Accessibility Small Projects Fund. And just FYI, we do have some monies earmarked in the capital budget for this. But if successful with both of these, that money could go elsewhere.
Open this up for discussion. Councillor Cutler?
I'll make a motion to proceed.
Okay, moved by Councillor Cutler. Question?
Moved by Counselor Cutler to approve the application to the Enabling Accessibility Fund for the purpose of enabling accessibility by increased lighting / pathway / modifications of curbs / entrances within Amundsen Park and to provide the required 20% matching funds.
Any further questions, comments, concerns in regards to this? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on, request for decision, enabling accessibility grant, community center. Abe?
So the community center Community Center Association is looking to apply for accessible portions of the community center renovation project, and that's identified here, the entrance and the barrier-free portion of the bathrooms. They've already been successful in one grant application to have some of their renovations funded by the CFEP grant. So this is just to get additional funding again for accessibility portions of that project. If successful, the town does have funds earmarked for this project as well. That would reduce the town's portion required for that project also.
Open it up for discussion. No discussion, looking for a motion. Moved by Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to support and provide authorization to the Claresholm Community Center Associations to plan to undertake the project and apply to the Enabling Accessibility Fund for the purpose of enabling accessibility to the building through renovation of the entrance and accessible portions of the bathrooms at the Claresholm Community Center, and to provide the required 20% matching funds.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Passed. Moving on, number 6, request for decision, Claresholm Fire Department engine replacement. Abe?
Our fire chief is here tonight. He's going to speak to this item.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. All right. So the town of Claresholm's own fire engine is coming up against its end of life. NFPA as well as town policy recommends replacement of apparatus by year 25. Currently, we are at year 21 going into year 22. In addition to safety, maintenance is also becoming increasingly expensive, as well as scarcity of parts outside of the pandemic, just due to the age of the truck and the type of the truck. It is no longer manufactured. Therefore, request that council consider replacement of the town engine with a similar type and kind to what we have now. At the October 19th Facility and Infrastructure Planning Committee meeting, the committee passed the following motion by Councillor Schlossberger to recommend to Claresholm Town Council that the town proceed with purchase of a new pumper truck of the same make and kind to the existing. Source and cost of funding. Currently in capital reserves we have approximately $218,000. Debt servicing and or capital grants is also an option, and exact source to be determined by council at a later date. So we're just looking for council's recommendation to proceed with the tendering process at this time.
Open it up for discussion. Any questions in regards to this? Looking for a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to proceed with the tendering process.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer. Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to proceed with the tendering process to replace the current town of Claresholm pumper / engine with one of a similar type and kind of the current model.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Passed. Thank you for coming in. Moving on to number 7, information brief. AEMA functional exercise. Abe?
Yeah, just a report back to council about the functional exercise that we held in town here and in the region recently, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. we held, as we've talked about this already, we've been training and preparing for this functional exercise for a while, and we held this in conjunction with Fort Macleod, the MD, Willow Creek, Nanton, and where each community had some kind of mock disaster, and they initiated their incident command posts to respond to the mock disaster, and a joint information center was also initiated, as was unified command, which happened in Fort Macleod, where all the communities pooled together their various response teams and responded to the incidents as one whole. So there's just some information here that we're passing on. Some correspondence as well from emergency personnel in the province. You'll see attached to this. Highlights of the report that's attached, the training that all municipal staff and elected officials within the region, there's information on the training they obtained, the exercise drills completed internally and collaboratively, some discussion about the intermunicipal working relationships, plans and procedures developed, and the momentum for continued growth and development of the municipal staff. So again, just to report back to council and the community about the work that was done here. Any questions on that?
I would just like to make the comment that being able to sit on the 5th and 6th of October, it was really well run, and everyone knew their roles, and I was actually quite impressed with how well everything went down. And it was quite an eye-opener to see where we as council, there's some areas that we can support you guys just a little bit better, so hopefully Councillor Zimmer and I will be able to sit down shortly with you guys and see if we can bring something forward to council to support the administration if this were to ever occur. And that would be it. So if there's nothing else, take that for information. Moving on, information brief, CAO report. Abe?
Just some information to council about the various departments and work that has been accomplished over the last month. Any questions on that?
Good.
I'll go ahead and take it for information. Moving on. Information brief, council committee reports. Any council would like to elaborate on theirs? Councillor Schlossberger? No? It's there for everyone's reviews. We'll take it for information. Moving on to number 10, information brief, council resolution status. Abe?
Just updates for council on the resolutions from recent meetings and what the status is. Questions on anything at all?
Questions? We will take it for information. We are looking for an adoption of the information items as presented.
I can make a motion to adopt the information items as presented.
Moved by Councilor Meister. All those in favor? Passed. Looking for a motion to go in camera to discuss land FOIP section 16.
I'll make a motion to go in camera.
Moved by Councilor Zimmer to go into camera at 7:29 p.m. All those in favor? Passed. Camera off. Looking for a motion to come out of camera at 8:07 p.m. Moved by Councilor Carlson. All those in favor? Passed. Looking to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councilor Carlson. All in favor? Meeting adjourned at 8:07 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Camera off.